have 6:13, Joseph.
Okay, all right, so you want to wait? Fine, we'll wait.
So
Okay. There's
somebody
someone who's
in there with a 732
Yeah.
number.
Can you identify yourself?
Hello, this is also Charlie Cradaville.
Who?
Charlie Cradaville.
The same
I
guest that
have
was-
him,
we
but
spoke moments
the one
ago.
with the phone, who is that?
They're both him, Linda.
Oh,
that's what he
okay.
said.
It's the same person. Yeah, it's the same person.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
thank
there's
you.
Leighton.
Oh,
Okay,
here's Leighton.
Denny's in as an attendee now. If somebody can grab him and move him over.
Here's Denny. Great.
I just did, okay. I don't know why that didn't work. Try again.
There's still a problem with the video. If you don't make them co-hosts, we weren't able to turn our videos on.
I'm trying to
That's
promote
the
him.
problem. It's telling me I'm unable to start my video.
Yeah.
Hi,
Here
Leighton.
comes Leighton.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Leighton.
Hi, Linda.
We
Lisa,
can't see you
John,
yet.
Robert.
Oh, boy.
There, I
Oh,
just
here
went
we
in and
go.
made them both. So you guys
Hi,
should be able to
Denny.
turn your videos on now.
Okay,
Great.
how do you do that, John?
John, your audio is muted.
I'm sorry. I just clicked on the little buttons on the upper right-hand corner. The three
Yeah,
little
that's what I was
buttons.
trying. Okay, good, all right.
Although
Well,
Denny's
it is
camera.
6:15 now,
There we go. See Denny.
and everyone seems
Hi,
to be.
Denny. How are you?
Hi, Denny.
Hi, Jenny.
are you?
So let's do a roll call. Commissioner Spitz,
Present.
Commissioner Logan,
Present.
Commissioner Saprell,
Present.
Commissioner Velasquez,
Present.
Commissioner Pennell. Hank,
Muted.
can you unmute?
Hank, you're muted.
Okay, and Commissioner Weiss present. I mean Hank's there, so. Welcome,
There,
everyone.
there you
Hi,
go.
Hank.
There's
Hank.
Hank.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to read the opening statement. The following is an accurate statement concerning the providing of notice of this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Adequate notice to the public of the time, date, and place of this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Princeton Housing Authority to be held virtually on Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 at 6:15 p.m. via Zoom was given by providing notice of the same to the municipality of Princeton, providing notice to and causing to be published in the Princeton packet, filing notice hereof with the clerk of the municipality of Princeton solely because of COVID-19 pandemic and the executive orders of the governor of the state of New Jersey. The meeting is being conducted virtually by internet. This announcement of the Board of Commissioners compliance with the notice provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act shall be duly entered into the minutes of this meeting. Thank you all for coming. Welcome. I think, I'll check into, we might be going to live meetings soon, and I'll check
Okay,
in on
oh.
that. How does everyone feel about that?
I think
Fine with me.
it says that we'll be meeting through December over Zoom on the website.
On our website or the town's website?
And
Yeah.
the council has gone into, they're no longer on Zoom. The last council meeting was live.
Yeah, I think they're doing both, actually, right?
We're doing hybrid, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, food for thought. We'll consider that. Maybe, I mean, I think Zoom is kind of nice for,
Yes, it
it
is.
allows a lot of people to attend, but it would also be nice to meet in person, I think. I'll
Kim.
find out about the policy on that.
Hello.
Okay. I will open it up to comments from the public. Welcome, Michael welcome Kim, and welcome Charlie. Anyone want to say something?
And Michael's here too.
Michael?
I
yeah.
said Michael. He was
Okay.
first.
Yes, please. This is Charlie. If can I be
Charlie,
recognized
can
to
you
speak now?
increase your volume a little bit? I'm sorry,
Sure. How about now?
that's
Good.
much better.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So I'll introduce myself briefly, Charlie Cradaville. I'm a resident of New Brunswick, and I'm the editor of a community newspaper here called New Brunswick Today, available online at newbrunswicktoday.com. May I ask, who is the custodian of records to file Open Public Records Act request with for the PHA?
You could submit it to me. I'm the attorney for Princeton Housing Authority. That's Robert F. Casey.
Okay, and is your email address easy to find, or can you
Yeah,
tell me?
I'll give it to you right now. It's R.F. Casey. So it's R as in Robert, F as in Frederick, CASEY at lenoxlaw.com. That's LENOXLAW.com.
Super. Thank you very much for that. My interest in the meeting is related to a contract the authority has with Sunbelt Industries, Inc. If I'm not mistaken, that's Mr. Clark's company, and he works with someone else, and I believe that's the capacity in which he's been hired to be the interim executive director. I was curious, what led to that, and what the terms of the contract are. I know, of course, Mr. Clark is our executive director of our housing authority here in New Brunswick.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Any other comments? From
What
you,
newspaper did you say you worked for?
That's New Brunswick Today.
Uh-huh.
You can check us out on Facebook. We're actually live right now with the meeting, and we're also available at newbrunswicktoday.com. I was wondering if I could get a copy of that contract. Perhaps I was hoping to find out the terms, and I believe contracts are immediate access documents under the OPRA. If I come to the agency
Sure.
tomorrow, could I get a copy?
You can send your request to me, and I'll take care of it for you. Okay, in compliance with
Okay.
with Oprah for sure.
Okay, just want to be clear, it's immediate access. So I was hoping to get it tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'll follow up and follow through on that. And I guess my concern that I wanted to share with the board is, there's only 24 hours in a day. I know Mr. Clark is, leading our agency here in New Brunswick through an interlocal services agreement with Franklin Township. He's also the interim ED at that agency. And it's my understanding, I guess last month he was hired to be the interim ED at the Atlantic City Housing Authority. So that makes 4 jobs. And I'm just concerned as a New Brunswick resident. I know there's a lot of projects going on in New Brunswick, and it's a big job. And I'm sure Mr. Clark agrees that it's a big job. So I'm just really, concerned about him splitting his time between all these roles, and was hopeful, Mr. Chair, through you, if he could just address that concern. I have not been able to ask him the question just yet, so I wanted to hear, how he is able to manage these 4 positions, and if he plans to continue doing that.
Yeah, this is Charlie, this is a public comment period, and we welcome your comment, but we're really not at liberty to discuss that. Any other comments?
Well, I think that's about it. I just hope that you take my concern to heart, and I will follow up with Mr. Casey for that copy of that contract. Thank you for hearing me out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Anyone else would like to speak from the public? Michael, Kim?
Michael? did you have a
No,
question?
no, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Kim?
Yes, thank you.
Hi.
My name's Kim Dorman. I'm with the Princeton Public Library. I serve as the community engagement coordinator there. And I just wanted
Can you
to-
turn up your volume a little, Kim?
Let me see if I can do something different with my volume. Hang on a second. All right, is that better?
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. My name's Kim Dorman. I'm the community engagement coordinator with the Princeton Public Library, and I just wanted to
share again my great congratulations and delight that the library was able to support the efforts of the Housing Authority and the Clay Street Residents Association for the Community Unity Picnic that happened in August. It was a really wonderful event. I think I've said to a couple of people that there have been some events that felt sort of organization heavy in terms of organizations coming in and planning, but this was really an event that came from the heart of the community with a desire to really bring people together. I think everybody's desire has always been to bring people together, but I think that this one really nailed it, and that's in part because of the support of the enthusiasm, the longtime enthusiasm of people like Patty Ann, but also the support of the Housing Authority and Reggie Wright, who really worked hard, and of course all these members of the Housing Authority Commission who were there on that day. So I was so pleased to even be a small part of the event. And so cheers.
Thank you for your part too, Kim. That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Kim. You were there early and you stayed late. Thank you.
And more importantly, you were playing soccer and tabling and.
Thank
Thanks
you,
very much.
Kim.
Thanks,
you.
Kim.
Great. Thanks, Kim. Okay, any other comments from the public? I see none. I will close the public comment period. Let's move on to the approval of minutes for our August 17th, 2022 meeting. Everyone, the commissioners have a copy of this. Any questions or edits? Anyone? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Is there a second?
Okay,
I second.
we'll just do a voice vote, or just a raising of the hand vote, if that's okay. All in favor of approval of the minutes of August 17th, 2022.
Hank doesn't have his screen on, so
Yeah, well, Hank, if you could just verbally cue.
Thank you.
Okay.
okay.
Are you okay with the minutes, Hank?
Yes.
Okay, and so I didn't see everyone's hand up. I guess everyone did raise their hand, right? Yeah, okay. All right, sorry. Okay, so the minutes are approved. Thank you. Let's move on to the interim executive director's report. I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Clark.
Great, thanks, Chair. Again, I want to recognize everyone that came out Saturday to that wonderful event. I can't tell you how great it was to see everyone. I want to recognize the chair for his grilling expertise.
Yes, it's hot over there.
Clearly his hands have no feeling, because I could tell you that grill was hot. And I really do think it was a true community event. Obviously, Reggie Wright, the staff at the authority, did a Herculean job in not only setting up, but in cleaning up, because after the event, we did have a great cleanup component, a lot of volunteers. I want to thank everyone that stayed around to do that. But my report will stand. I did want to touch on a couple of things real quick. And I sent out some photos. I hope people had a chance to take a look at the photos. Our laundry room ramp has been installed down at Reading Senior. It is up and running and working, and people are using it. I want to recognize Commissioner Spitz for her continued management and single-handed support with some help for the food pantry and also the grow gardens that are down at the seniors area. They're being nurtured, used, eaten, and replanted, and everything else. And I think everyone's doing a great job. I'm sorry, my voice, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here, so I appreciate everyone. Secondly, on the finance report, at Denny's suggestion and Felicia's urging, we went in and created our shot at a Maple Franklin XL. We could not do it in PHA Web because it bleeds through to the other reports, but I think we've got the bones of it. So if you can take a look, give me your thoughts, comments, recommendations, we'll get it cleaned up. But I think it is a pretty accurate showing of kind of where that development is. I did provide the rent rolls and blacked out the names so that you can kind of see true to amounts that are coming in for those sites and the expenses that are related to those sites. On the operations side, we will be going out for bid on the snow removal and landscaping. So snow removal for fall, winter this year, and landscaping for 23. That's going to be a joint contract. Our hope is that we'll get a larger contractor. The snow removal contracts now, if they're just doing snow removal, are crazy. They're very expensive because the insurance costs have all but doubled now. And we don't have the capacity or staff, obviously, to do the snow removal. So we've been doing them. You've been doing them through contracts down here. I've spoken to some of the previous contractors. There's some interest, but it's going to be going out as a bid. So I'm sure at the October meeting, we should have an inkling as to where we'll be with that. We'll also be going out for some other contracts in October, a full A&E contract for an architect and engineering firm to come in and be available, as well as some other components that we need at the authority. Our last employee, if the board recalls, they did approve one more full-time maintenance staff person. I've asked Reggie and Ron to work to do some of the initial screening, and they've been doing some interviews and doing a great job. Once they identify the top 2 candidates, we'll do a quick Zoom discussion, and we'll make our initial offer and our secondary backup. And we'll put them together, and then I'll call a meeting of the Operations and Personnel Committee to discuss those candidates with them before we make a formal offer and start the screening, component. But I think we have 3 or 4 pretty good candidates right now, just on face value, and I'm hopeful that we'll get one more out of there. Our somewhat new employee has been working now a month. He's been great. He's really rolled his sleeves up to work with the other 2 staff people there. And, I can't say enough good things about him.
What is his name, John?
His name is Tyler Lee.
Okay, thank you.
Tyler Lee. And
Everybody loves Tyler.
Everyone loves Tyler, yes. He is very, he comes from he has a mechanical background. He's also worked in the service industry in some stores. So he's a very customer service kind of person. And he's willing to learn. We started the training components there. So the staff have gotten their right to know training, all of them. They're now moving into some of the secondary trainings for eligibility and income determinations. Reggie's working in there now. You also have some of the other maintenance staff are going to be doing their OSHA 10-hour safety training. And they're going to be doing a lot of video training for the snow and ice. We will be taking over and doing Reading Senior and Reading Family snow removal and ice and salting. So that'll be a component that should save us some money now. But at the same time, it's a responsibility because freeze and refreeze doesn't happen, during regular daytime hours. That's the 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. hour that you work, and you got to get out there and address those areas before the kids get up and people start walking about around 5 in the morning. So,
And is staff on board with this?
Staff are 100% on board because they know they get the OT. And I was quite frank with them in saying I'd rather pay you to do it because we don't necessarily have funds, for a lot of the other components and increases in those things. So that's one way to basically have the staff, stay engaged, stay motivated, and really take pride in the job they're doing on those sites. We are going to be going through a disposition as the board members that have taken the tours and gone around and seen what's at the authority, like a trailer that hasn't been used in 3 years, things like that. So we're going to be doing a disposition of equipment. Reggie's going to be spearheading that. We're going to follow our disposition policy. They'll be advertised. It'll be publicly disposed. And then the funds that we generate through those items will go towards some of the new vehicle purchases. As the board also knows, we're in need of a couple of maintenance vehicles. And my hope is that we'll generate enough revenue to maybe purchase one flat out with those sales of those items that have been either shelved or sitting in 2 of the trailers that are behind the office that haven't been opened in a couple of years. So our hope is to do that. And then lastly, on the operations and finance side, the authority continues to operate, in financial stable status. We do not have a federal budget at this time. So which runs out on September 30th. We've heard that it's going to be a continuing resolution. We don't know the amounts yet. I suspect it'll probably voted on in the next week or so. And
But we're on RAD, aren't we?
we are on RAD, but the RAD funding still comes from the T-HUD bill. And the T-HUD bill is part of the federal appropriations bill. So when they talk about the federal budget, that is RAD. So the RAD payments just went from Section 9 money, which is public housing money, to Section 8 money, which is RAD, the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8, and so on. They are 15 and 20-year contracts, but they're annually appropriated. Those funds aren't sitting in a bank somewhere. The entire HUD budget is annually appropriated, just like the Department of Labor, Department of Defense, Transportation, all of the major components of the federal government. And as of right now, the federal government only has a budget in place till September 30th. So I can't imagine in an election year that we would not have a CR through maybe December, early December, I would suspect. That's usually that's kind of what they've done, is they kind of do it right before Christmas, and then everyone says, well, it's Christmas, and then they do another CR. So we haven't had a federal budget in 13 years. We've had some omnibus budgets. So we've been going continuing resolution all the way back when President Obama came in. So, we're used to it on our side. But it's just a little odd, to do business that way, because when you get funded for 3 months, but you have to budget for a year, it's a little odd. So, but that's where we are. So as soon as I hear any information on that, I'll include it in my next report.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yes, Hank.
Does anyone have questions for Mr. Clark?
I
Yes.
do have a question that I think comes up every year, that the municipality is supposed to shovel snow wherever the bus route is.
Exactly.
Yeah, Chair, I actually, I reached out to the town engineer. He and I are going to have a second discussion. There is a pilot in place for the authority. And the town does have cooperative agreements to do what they call public access areas, which are bus routes. There's also some overlapping with the university, as you know, Chair, for that sort of area back by Karen. But
it doesn't really overlap, actually. It's like our property is the continuation of their property.
Yeah. But I do have a call set up with Jim for next week to discuss that. And so I can kind of get my arms around that. I did speak with some of the longtime residents down on Clay and over on Spruce, who have said that in the past that the town did shovel those areas. So I'm kind of like, okay. So if it's something they were doing, I'm sure that they would do that. I haven't seen the old cooperative agreement. Apparently, Ron is looking right now to try to dig it up to see if there was areas and streets identified in the old agreement. Typically, those were done in like the 50s and 60s. And
Like when we had a borough and a township, because I think the borough lost a lot of resources. When
everything converted,
Princeton.
that was 2013, right, or 14? I think you guys converted
somewhere around
over.
there.
Well,
Yes.
they're still consolidating
Yeah.
some things. So the codes are still being addressed, and we might have an opportunity to sneak in here. Leighton probably has the answer, and kind of get this firmed up before maybe that part of the code's finished.
Leighton, you have your hand up. Why don't you?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I
I
think.
should say Councilman Newland. Sorry.
That's quite all right. No format. I think a meeting would be timely with the municipal administrator, possibly with the Department of Public Works. John, I would be happy to set that up so that we can take a look.
That'd be great. Thanks, Councilman.
Probably a deep dive into what has been, codifying the codes between the borough and the township, to take a look at what the municipality did do and didn't do. And more specifically, a look at exactly what the pilot agreement says and what it covers.
That'd be great. I would appreciate the help. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get back to you later this week with that information. Chair and John, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Newland. That's great. We've been trying to get to the bottom of this for a little while now. So hopefully we'll get some progress on that issue.
Okay.
Good. Does anyone else, Hank, you wanted to say something?
Yeah.
I think it's, oh, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Hank.
We hear you.
The only thing I wanted to say is Bertha covered that the bus route on in the Reading Circle has always been an obligation of the town to keep that road plowed because they have an agreement with transit. So
Okay,
that's always been their priority.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for Mr. Clark on his report? I actually have one. Where are we with the recertification of Maple Franklin?
So Maple Franklin is scheduled for paper research the first week in October.
Okay.
We still haven't gotten everything back on our packages that we sent. So we've been circling back now, trying to kind of go door to door to help residents find some of the information. As you know, Maple Franklin was sort of outside of that fold. So there was less intensive recertifications going on in the past there, but now we really need to we're doing the full ones. So clients there aren't necessarily used to the information we're asking for. So some of them gave back what they thought they had given in the past. And now, you know, with Reggie and Ron's help, they're going and saying, well, we need this other information now. So that first week in October will be our sort of big push for that. My goal is to have them all recertified by the end of October. I think that's realistic with 19. We should be able to get through that. And we do have one client there that's got some other issues that they may be transitioning somewhere else. So.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments from Mr. Clark? I think we'll then go ahead, Hank.
Maple and Franklin, who's gonna take on the snow removal there?
So Hank, we would contract everything outside of Reading Family and Reading Senior. So that would be contracted as well. So Maple Franklin, Spruce, Clay, and Karen would all be contracted.
Seeing that the town owns Franklin Terrace, should they take some responsibility?
That's one of the discussions that I was going to already talk with the engineer.
Oh, I love you, Hank.
But now that the councilman has offered the BA, I would love to speak to the BA about that, Hank. But you know, in the past, who's done that? Yes, I know you know. So.
Yes, well, we didn't know that Franklin Terrace was owned by the town.
Yes.
At least I didn't know it.
Right. I feel like they owe us from 1988, whatever the plowing is there.
I agree.
Actually, the original lease agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The original lease agreement did provide for PHA to maintain the property
For free.
But that ended in 88, right?
Yeah, that is correct, Felicia. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're basically just running on ether here.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Thanks,
other
Hank.
Thanks, Hank.
questions, comment? John, thanks very much for the report.
Sure.
Let's move on to Operations Committee reports. Operations and Personnel Committee, we haven't met, so I don't think there's anything to report there unless someone wants to bring something to the table.
I saw some residents when I was over, I don't know, pulling weeds or filling cans or something, and they didn't understand the tenant maintenance charges policy. I think that page of explanation just, you know, it was, oh, blah, blah, blah. They turned the page. So I just explained it, but I feel like we're probably gonna need to do a little bit of hand holding with maintenance requests and stuff, because I think that, you know, it's new and they didn't really understand the spirit of it was things that fell outside of normal wear and tear.
Chair?
Yes.
Just a point of order real quick. So we sent out the initial document, Felicia, with the initial letter. We're
Right.
scheduled to send out a second document on the 5th or whatever that Monday is of October. And then the final notice would go out at the end of October. I will tell you, we've probably gotten maybe 24 calls from the first mailing of people saying, well, what's this mean? I got to pay for my blinds now and this and that. So there is definitely some angst about it. What the staff have been instructed, they've been telling people, and we've also actually coordinated with the Princeton Social Services that are on site to say, listen, this is all outside of wear and tear. It's for damage or destruction. So as long as you didn't, or your guests didn't damage or destruct something, and as long as you didn't remove, tamper, or otherwise adjust your smoke detectors, because that's been apparently
Right.
a problem, that when we went through and did the full property inspections, that was that and blocked egress, meaning windows that had furniture in front of them, were the
Right.
two largest issues, where people had literally removed the smoke detector from their living room. Like,
Well, it
gone.
doesn't go off when you burn dinner if it's not there.
Dinner or anything else. So,
Right.
so that those were some of the largest areas, and our guys were replacing them. So we replaced over 100 smoke detectors.
Wow. Okay.
That's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Is
Now,
that over
some
all,
were, that's
all
all
the
the units.
properties?
Yeah, the properties. And again, some units have four smoke detectors, whatever. But
Right.
100, I mean, 100's a lot. And I think, and by the way, that's not uncommon to have a larger number, just because they cycle out every 3 to 5 years. You're supposed to put the date on them on the
That's
back when you install
right.
them. So I've told our guys, when in doubt, switch it out. So no questions at all. Don't ask, oh, is it going off? If they say it's not working or beeping, take it down and put a brand new one up. And now you have that date on there, so that, God forbid there's something bad that happens in the future, or more importantly, when an inspector does their next inspection next year, they look on the side, they say, oh, okay, October 2022, you're good. You got you got 5 years on this detector, no problem. So
Right.
there's a comfort there. But I agree with Felicia 100% that, and we may even set something up to have, Reggie just call around. I mean, it's 230 units. So, I mean, that's a week's work. So, do 30 a day, and you're good in 2 weeks. So I think it's something maybe towards the end of the month, once we do. And the initial mailing, Chair, it just had a cover letter that said, as Felicia said, it was very basic, saying this is not a policy in place now. It's going to go in place in October, at the end of October, for November 1st, so on, so on, and so on. But even with that, 2 days after, we had a dozen phone calls, and then another dozen phone calls with people who were concerned about calling in things like blinds, or like, the latch on my bathroom door has worn down, or areas that weren't chargeable items. And once we explained to them, they said, oh, okay, well, and it was, but again, since it was never anything that was sort of enforced or done in the past, so to speak, I think there's going to be a growing pain period of time. But at the same time, the goal here isn't to punish people that are following and doing what they're supposed to. The goal here is to, charge people that have damaged, destroyed, or tampered with property. And you just, you can't do that. So my hope is that we'll have more people, getting things replaced. And we encourage clients to call in on anything they have. We don't, because a small problem at 2 o'clock in the afternoon becomes a catastrophe at midnight.
Only midnight on Saturday, John.
Yeah. Or Saturday right before an event, when you have raw
Right.
sewage going down the road.
Oh, that was
anyway,
fun.
well,
Yeah.
that's another
Hey, John,
discussion. Yes.
I had one thought. You mentioned the smoke detectors. It occurred to me, are you using ones that have a sealed battery?
Yes.
Okay.
So
good.
yeah, all
So
of
you
our
can't remove the
detectors.
battery.
No, you
Good.
cannot remove the battery. You can
You can
bag.
disable them, of course. Yeah.
Yes, you can bag the detector,
Yeah.
or tape over the sensors.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
all
yeah.
great things that people can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one suggestion I had, which if we're going to send out again on October 5th, might be worth adjusting, is to put an example on there. Because I told a refrigerator story
Mhm.
a hypothetical refrigerator story that hypothetically was destroyed in 6 weeks that had been brand new. And everybody immediately got, oh, okay, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, and expensive. So I don't know if like how the, I mean, we just approved the policy, but maybe in your cover letter, if you just put a little example in there, that might make the point better than all. I mean, we were very careful to include explanatory language that I think was maybe too much, and just a little example of if this happens, then that happens. If this happens, then that happens. And give one where it's normal wear and tear, it's no charge, or 6 weeks later, the refrigerator or the washing machine, whatever, was destroyed. You know, here's the cost.
Sure.
Good
I think that's
idea.
great. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that.
Okay.
Okay.
But we still are shooting chair and board for November 1st. And it'll be a soft landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not going to be, I've already
Yeah.
told our guys, probably through the end of
Use
this year,
judgment.
we're going to, exactly, unless it's clear, absolute
course.
destruction, we're going to be very, easy.
Good. Good. Okay.
Great.
Can we move on to the Pinell, Clay Street, and actually Reading report? Felicia, do you have anything you want to share? I know we have a resolution coming
right
for that, and maybe we'll just take it up with that, or, okay.
I mean, I can just tell you that we've gotten the initial bid into the town. Bob did a great job this month getting the contract back. There's been some difficulty with the CDBG consultant getting timely replies back, but I'm working with Jeff Grosser now at the town to try and get some support from an employee to stay on top of that. But assuming, our resolution goes forward today, the, town's up next to get behind this.
Great.
Good work.
Bob, did you want to say something?
I think the town approved it the other night as well. So that's what I think Edgemere told me, that the resolution passed the other night for this. So it's just a matter of us signing it, getting the resolution tonight passed, and then passing it on to Princeton to have them sign it. So we've made
Okay.
good progress.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Well, thank you, Felicia and Bob, for putting this together, because this is a really good injection of capital into PHA. So thank you.
Mhm.
Social Service Committee, Linda, do you want to
Thank you.
weigh in
Thank
here?
you, Joseph. I just have a few words because we have a big agenda. Bertha and I had a great visit with a lady from Reading Circle who was recommended to us by the Princeton Senior Resource Center. She's 96 years old, and she is very happy with her apartment. She said if there's anything wrong, maintenance either comes that day or the next day. She's delighted about that. She was fascinating. I think Bertha would agree. She was born in Mesopotamia. Her native tongue is Arabic. And
Yeah,
the only
I'm sorry,
one
where was she born? I
she has
forgot.
no one to speak to. So we're on the lookout for someone that speaks Arabic. They can go and talk to her. So that was great. Well, I mean, already the block party has been mentioned. It was a huge success. It was great to talk to our residents who were very friendly and very wanted to discuss things. And the one issue that I heard from several is that they're mad at the people that are not paying their rent. That is their main concern. Another issue is they want to use the Pinell Center for their meetings. And this is something they've been bringing up for years. I think we need to bite the bullet and do something about that. But it was a great event. I was contacted by a gentleman who was born in the John Witherspoon neighborhood. His name is Reverend Smith, and he is now has a church in Plainsboro, I believe, or Hamilton, I'm sorry. But he and some key members of the community have a great initiative. These are all people who live in the John Witherspoon neighborhood. And that is to teach photography to young people, high school students. This program will take place next summer, and a local photographer from the John Witherspoon neighborhood will be the teacher. And the goal will be to, after they manage all of these skills, to give them a digital camera. By the way, Reverend Smith was mentored by Hank Pennell when he was a boy. So he has really fond memories of this neighborhood, and his heart is really still there. Last week, the superintendent of schools had a one-on-one meetings with anybody in the community who wanted to talk to her at the Princeton Public Library. So I went and I had a wonderful chat with her. Everyone who has met Dr. Kelly is impressed. She is very concerned about the students. My question to her was, the students who have lost ground because of the pandemic and remote learning, all students have lost ground, but those in affordable housing, perhaps more than others, their parents work, English may be a second language, they had no supervision for using the computer. And the Housing Authority is seriously concerned about our young people. And she was very responsive. She said that it would be handled by the teachers, but I think she was surprised because this had not been brought up before. School had just started. And she said that if we knew of any students, to please let her know. She didn't know anything really about the Housing Authority. So
that's so surprising, Linda, because
properties and our demographics and so forth. And since our meeting, I've had 2 emails from her staff, and she wants to come to next month's meeting. So I said we would be delighted to have her. And I think it's great for the Housing Authority to reach out into the community as much as possible, because we are the advocates for our residents. So that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Great.
yes, I have a question. Did she actually say that she didn't know that our students were behind? Is that what you said?
That she didn't say that, but I think that, she didn't expect that to be brought up right away because school had just started. She was very forward leaning, but I think it's something that now she is definitely focused on it, and her staff is too. And since we have made this contact, we can work with her parents and anyone else that that might be interested. Reggie may know of some young people that might need extra help, but no, she didn't say she didn't know, because everybody knows. It's all the studies indicate it's just out there. So
right, they also got their standardized test scores back, and it was crystal clear where they're failing and how poorly they're doing with economically disadvantaged students.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Linda.
Joseph,
Go ahead,
this is something that the nonprofit could address. When will we have our first meeting?
Well, I'm waiting for the attorney to give me papers. They're working on it. It's frankly, it's been a little frustrating, Felicia. They was promised right after Labor Day, and I haven't got it yet. So I'll keep everyone posted.
Because this is something that the nonprofit committee could do. I ran classes before with my former nonprofit that addressed literacy and science and applying to college. And, we could meet and I could start working on that stuff now so that when the attorneys do get this done, we're ready to hit the ground. running and we wouldn't lose another summer, to Linda's point.
You know, that's a good point, but I think now we better let the department, the superintendent kind of take the lead. We have shown our interest and concern, but it's up to her and her staff to address any issues. As long as we're supportive and we provide any information on students that we have, I think we ought to sort of stand back a little bit and let her and her staff handle it. Although your point is very well taken.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the pandemic is not really what's responsible for the scores, because Princeton's been failing economically disadvantaged students since 1970s when they first started reporting standardized tests. So it's really important that we don't stand back and let the school manage it, because they have failed for 50 years to address this. So that's one of the main goals of the nonprofit, is to actually do it correctly and do it in a meaningful way that will actually change outcomes, versus sitting back and letting the school fail for another 50 years, these kids. I have all kinds of charts, if you'd like to see them, Linda, about how miserably the school district has failed our kids since 1970.
Thank you. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I went to talk to her, because
Yeah.
I'm much aware of that.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
let's
our
move forward.
responsibility to be advocates for our kids. That's part of our, you know, mantra. So, but I agree with you there.
So could we
Thanks.
get a meeting scheduled then for the nonprofit?
Like I said, I'm waiting for the attorney. So I'll let you know. It's expected shortly. Thank you, Linda. Any other comments? So the next item is an update on case management work. I don't know where that came from, but is that?
Chair, yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, last time we had spoke, we were making the marriage between the Princeton case managers. They actually are working on a monthly report that they would like to submit with Reggie on, you know, just numbers, no specific individuals. Their hope was to have it for this month, but that kind of bled over. So I told them, rather than, you know, give us the pencil copy, give us the finished copy in October. So that'll be a holder. That'll be a holder.
This is like the Senior Resource Center.
Correct. Yeah, those case managers.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so we can move on then. Redevelopment Committee, we're going to defer that. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bertha.
I'm sorry, I kind of have a question, but I think maybe I should have asked it a little while ago. It's about me having a meeting with Tammy from the Princeton Environmental Commission. I was just wondering if I could have the meeting at the office at PHA. Because I know y'all have a meeting room up there, John.
Yes, we do. We have a small conference room. It is absolutely no problem, Bertha. Just let me know when it's available. That would be we'd be happy to host that.
October 12th at 2:30.
Done. I'll email you. I'll email you to confirm it. 12th at 2:30. You want it for about an hour, hour and a half?
Oh, an hour. Tops.
Okay, October 12th. No problem.
That Bertha, thank you.
What is the lady's name?
Tammy Sands.
Okay.
So this pertains to
the water basin,
reworking the detention basin that's at the corner of Ewing and Mount Lucas, and is kind of the front door to Reading Circle. Bertha has graciously agreed to kind of take the lead on being the liaison between PHA and these other groups in the town that are helping us to try to get something going where we could get funding to basically redo that basin. So it's not so much, it's my pet thing is that it doesn't have chain link around it. That's what I hate the most.
It is an eyesore. I never even noticed before. It's sad.
It is our front door. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Good. I'm going to move on to resolutions. The first one is approving and payment of bills for August 2022. Everyone had the report. It's included in the agenda package. Any questions for Mr. Clark? Any comments? Anybody?
I had a quick question.
Linda?
Who is Sherwin Williams who got $800?
Sherwin-Williams is a paint company. We buy our
Oh,
paint.
that's the paint company.
Yes.
Okay.
Denny? Denny?
John, remind me who Sunbelt Industries is?
Sunbelt Industries is my consulting company. That's the
That's
company
right.
that you hire me as the interim director under.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, do I have a motion to, well, let me read the, do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills?
I motion that we approve the payment of bills for August.
Second,
Okay. Resolution 2022, number 29, resolution ratifying, authorizing, and approving payment of bills for the month of August 2022. Commissioner Pennell,
Yes.
Commissioner Saprell,
Yes.
Commissioner Logan,
Yes.
Commissioner Spitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Velasquez,
yes,
and Commissioner Weiss, yes. The resolution carries unanimously. That brings us to our next resolution, which is the resolution approving a revision to the admissions and continued occupancy policy of the PHA. John, maybe you, would you mind just kind of briefing people on this so everyone
Sure.
understands what's going on?
Chair, if the board recalls several meetings back, we talked about recognizing and giving priority to clients over at Maple Franklin. This resolution goes now to do an amendment to the admissions and continued occupancy policy that allows what we are calling emergency relocations in certain circumstances of existing public housing tenants, of existing housing authority tenants to be able to relocate within developments of the housing authority. And it applies to clients that may have emergency relocations, either from other developments like Spruce to Reading, Reading to, Clay, and would include Maple Franklin to other developments within the authority's portfolio. It would amend the admissions policy to allow those transitions. Clients would still have to meet all of the requirements for the affordable housing components that they're moving into at the public housing side. They would still have to be recertified, just like everybody else, but they would still have to meet those requirements in order to qualify.
I don't think the language on the resolution makes that clear. It just says existing tenants.
Yeah, we didn't want to put a development in there, Felicia, because this amendment would be broad enough to include Karen, if there were clients in Karen that had to move at some future time, or other developments. So we didn't want to put a development. We just wanted to make it broadly being existing residents or leaseholding residents with the authority. And that's why the language, we're still going back and forth on the language with that.
But I don't have a question about that. I think that it needs to say existing residents who qualify for affordable housing.
We could amend that, Chair, if you want a friendly amendment, or the actual revision will say that. But if you want to put in that second whereas, Chair.
This concerns existing residents, so obviously they comply with, they meet,
I think what she's saying is
obviously they don't,
qualified.
because we haven't qualified some of them recently, so.
Well, we're in the process of doing that. That's part of the recertification. Is that what you're
Right, but this comes before
Yeah.
that, so I want it clear on this policy that will only relocate tenants who qualify for affordable housing.
So in the whereas, Felicia, Princeton Housing
Yeah.
Authority to allow existing qualified residents?
Existing residents who qualify for affordable housing.
Qualify.
Okay.
Affordable housing, and then continue to move between developments in certain circumstances.
Right.
Yes, okay, I'll get it
Bob,
amended.
do you have anything on this to add that you would want to add, Bob Casey?
No, it's fine with me. I mean, you can amend it that way. It's sua sponte is fine.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on this?
That's a good catch.
Well,
I think that helps clarify.
Yep.
Thanks, Felicia.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve
Motion to approve
as amended?
as amended.
I second.
Okay. Resolution 2022, number 30, resolution approving a revision to the admissions and continued occupancy policy for the Princeton Housing Authority and as amended at our meeting tonight. Commissioner Pinnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Saprell,
Yes.
Commissioner Logan,
Yes.
Commissioner Spitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Velasquez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Weiss, I vote yes. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, our next resolution is 2022, number 31. This concerns the rehabilitation of Reading Circle Community Room. This is the CD. I always trip over that. CDBG money that is coming our way. This is a great thing. We discussed it earlier. Felicia kind of briefed everyone a little bit about it. Any other questions, comments on this? Do I have a motion to approve?
I motion.
Mhm.
Do I have a
I
second?
Second.
Okay, Bertha beat you to it, Denny, sorry.
Sorry,
Okay,
Danny, you get the
resolution
next one.
2022, number 31. Resolution approving agreement between the municipality of Princeton and the Princeton Housing Authority for the rehabilitation of Reading Circle Community Room. Commissioner Pinnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Saprell,
Yes.
Commissioner Logan,
Yes.
Commissioner Spitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Velasquez,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss, I vote yes. The resolution carries unanimously. Thanks, everyone. And Felicia, again, a shout out to you for kind of spearheading this. It's great.
Kudos.
Thank you.
So that
job,
moving on
Spitz.
to, I'm sorry. Moving on to unfinished business. Anybody have any unfinished business they want to bring to the meeting? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to new business. Does anyone have any new business they would like to bring?
There may be additional CDBG funds. I'm trying to work with the town on that Wi-Fi project to see how much of it's still needed 3 years later. And if there are those funds available, then we might be able to address the Pinnell Center as well. And I think Linda mentioned it before, something along the bite the bullet and open the center. The issue with that is we don't have a secure door in the lobby. So even though the upstairs is technically vacant with all the school shootings and, everything else that we have to deal with in this country, we can't have people coming in and out of that building if we don't have a secured door at the classroom. So if I am able to secure additional CDBG funds, one of the things on that, the Pinnell Center would be to secure that lobby door. So then members of the community could come in and go upstairs to what is the always empty upstairs room. And we could run other programming there. So I'm going to start working on that as soon as I find out.
Felicia, their meetings would be in the evening when the students are not there. So that would make it easier, I think.
Well, there's some issue with people not leaving the center clean afterwards. And when you have children coming in the next day, you can't really have people in that room. So we just need to get it locked so that the teacher could leave the classroom set up the way it needs to be and that residents could use the upstairs, regardless of the hours.
So it's a matter of getting a lock on that second door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be
Got it.
secure.
Yeah, understood. Okay.
Felicia, you said there might be extra funding. Perhaps there could be some kind of generator at the Purnell Center. So when the power outages occur, residents could go there to charge their phones or something like that. Just a thought. I mean, if there's enough money, why not?
I have to tell you, I'll put that on the list and we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll see.
That's a
Okay.
great idea,
It
Bertha.
is.
I mean, it could
fantastic.
be a cooling center too, potentially.
Right.
Yeah, or warming depending on the season.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's great. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Okay, I think we're gonna move into closed session. I need a motion to move into closed session.
I make a motion to go
I'll
into.
second.
closed session.
Okay, so members of the public, Mr. Cradaville, thank you very much for attending. Councilman Newland, thank you, sir. Always nice to see you. So we're gonna move into a closed session. And then, John, you sent around a separate.
Yes, it's a
Zoom.
separate link, Chair. Everyone should have it.
Are
Okay.
the redevelopment attorneys joining us?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are. Yep.
So everyone should
attorney.
have that link. They can sign off on this one and sign on to the other one.
Yeah, okay, so we'll have a vote to adjourn into closed session. Commissioner Spitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Logan,
Yes.
Commissioner Saprell,
Yes.
Commissioner Velasquez,
Yes.
Commissioner Pennell,
Yes.
and Commissioner Weiss. I vote yes. So we're gonna adjourn into closed session. We'll see you on the other side. And then, so everyone knows we have to come back to this and then close out our meeting in public. So
Great.
we'll